Grab your big book, your pen, your highlighter, and notepad and get ready to hear and apply some of the solution from the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous through the experience, strength, and hope of Nikki M. To have a question addressed in a future episode of Noodle It Out with Nikki, please send an email to noodlewithnikki@gmail.com, and Nikki is spelled with 2 Ks. To get a more interactive experience with Nikki as she noodles out life and recovery questions using the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, you can get a link to her weekly Noodle It Out with Nikki meeting held live on Zoom every Monday morning at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. The information to that meeting is in the show notes of this podcast. God morning, God afternoon, and God evening to all. My name is Justin B., and I am a son of an all-powerful and all-loving God and a qualifying addict of multiple fellowships. Beautiful, beautiful fellowships, living in the miracle of recovery, and I'm here with the intelligent agent, spearhead of God's ever-advancing creation, and my co-host, Nikki M. Nikki, tell us about what you've been doing the last week or so since we last talked.
Well, I've been celebrating my 50th birthday this last week, which I can tell you I've never dreamt that my life would be this incredible. I made a promise. I'm in Luxembourg right now. If anybody doesn't know, Google where that is. I'm from Toronto, Canada, and God has me here celebrating with the man I love and who loves me very much. So I've just been enjoying miracles all week, and the messages and love that is poured in from my fellowship, from the people who love me. I can tell you that I've lived a lie before when I thought no one loves me. That's just fake news, Justin. So I'm just so grateful. And here's the coolest part. I want another 50 years on this planet, God willing, because at one point I wanted to die. And that's just, I've recovered from a seemingly fake news, hopeless state of mind and body. I want to live. Thanks, Justin.
Awesome. And happy birthday to you, Nikki. Super happy that you're able to spend your birthday in such an amazing place with an amazing person and amazing people. Awesome. All right, let's get into this and share a little bit about RICO 12. I'm the steward of the RICO 12 family of recovery resources. Among those are the RICO 12 weekly speaker meeting podcast, RICO 12 shares, and a few other projects, including this one, Noodle It Out with Nikki. Our mission at RICO 12 and our goals are to educate addicts of all varieties of the commonality of all addictions, as well as a common solution that can work for virtually all. We subscribe to the idea in the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous that, quote, rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. We also have a goal of reducing or eliminating the stigma of shame that accompanies addictions of all kinds. All right, let's get down here to this project we call Noodle It Out with Nikki M. It's an exercise and a deep dive into finding solutions to questions, issues, and things we encounter, not only in our addictions, but in everyday life. And we find those in the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. We'll bring a couple of questions from our own lives, from the lives of people we work with in recovery, from our own experience, and from the listening audience to the Big Book. Get your big book out and get ready to run around and make some notes today. You know, Nikki, today, so this last week in the Noodle It Out with Nikki WhatsApp group, a question was posed that I just really resonated with at the time, and I think it was because of things that I was going through. But here's the generals of that question. The person said, I've been trying to be of maximum service to my relatives who are in need for a while. It's to the point that I have sacrificed my own health and well-being, and I am insane. What does the book say? What do I need to do in this situation?
Okay, this is a great question, especially for everybody. You know, Nikki, I'm an alcoholic. What does this have to do with this? Well, I think everybody qualifies for Al-Anon. This is a real Al-Anon codependence. Oh, I'm not codependent. I would beg to differ. So here it is. Page 102. Let's just open our big book. Okay, so page 102 says, your job now is to be at a place where you can be of maximum helpfulness to others. Okay, so my job, remember on page 63, I took a sincere position to abandon myself to God, a God of our understanding. Isn't it? So if my job is to be at a place where I can be of maximum helpfulness to others, that's what I need to do. I need to take a sincere position to do that. But I'm self-sacrificing. I'm sacrificing and I'm depleted. Well, then that's not helpful, is it? Because I've heard a speaker that I love, Mark Houston, say, we're not included in others. But I'm going to challenge that, because on page 55 of our big book, it says, actually, we were fooling ourselves. Deep down in every man, woman, and child is the fundamental idea of God. So if God is deep down inside of every man, woman, and child, why wouldn't I be included in everything and others? You understand? So it's not helpful for me that's called martyrdom. See, being a martyr is a character defect. If you ask me, look what I do for you. I'm doing so much. Well, is that helpful? Because page 420 says we do the next right thing. Now, is the next right thing to be depleted and be soul sucked from, remember, a lot of people are spiritually sick and they can suck the energy and soul and the God right out of you. So is that helpful? Is that a maximum helpfulness to do that? See, I make a commitment. I have my auntie. She's 94 years old. She's the matriarch of our family. And she's my great aunt. She's my deceased grandfather's sister. And I've been chosen out of 50 nieces and nephews to be one of her power of attorneys for physical health. And I go to see her every Tuesday, when I'm in Canada, of course, every Tuesday. And it's my job. And then what do I do in between? I make sure that all her stuff is in order. Like, she has a trainer that comes over. All her stuff is organized. It's called doing the next right thing. But do I drop everything to go serve Auntie when that's not helpful? No, that's not helpful. See, I have to be responsible and accountable. So I even my mom, I know my time. My mother lives in my house. Many of you, if you don't know my story, my mother lives in my home because, I think it was 6 or 7 years ago, her husband of 25 years took a pistol and blew his head off in front of her. And this is where we go in the disease of alcoholism. So is it helpful for me to, martyr myself for my mom? No, that's her life. She made those choices. To be honest, Auntie made those choices too. Auntie made those choices. And so long story short, my job and my purpose is to serve God's people. That's on page 77. And I'm one of God's people. I have to serve myself, which means I have to pause when I'm agitated. Page 87. I must pause when agitated. Page 111, page 111 says, the first principle of success is to never be angry. See, the first principle of success is that I should never be angry. Well, Nikki, how do I never be angry? You can, how about never be drained, never be depleted? You could change that around here. How do you do that? You have full reliance on God. You remember that God will do for you what you cannot do for yourself. So I'd like to ask this person, are you doing the self-care that you need in order to serve others? Like, being a martyr, how about this? People pleasing is dishonest. If you're people pleasing, you're doing things that you don't want to do. How honest is that person who asked this question? Because I think you started the preamble of our podcast here, Justin, with page 58, which says, where is it? Rarely have we seen a person fail who thoroughly follows this path. Those who do not recover are people who cannot or will not completely give themselves to this simple program. This is a simple program. You have to be radically honest. Is what I'm doing helpful? Is it helpful to deplete yourself? What was the word that you used, Justin? I think you said she was sacrificing and she has nothing left, or this person, I don't know if it's a he or she, has nothing left for themselves. Where is that helpful? That's called, as God's people, we stand tall. We don't crawl before anyone, says page 83. As God's people, I stand tall. No, I can't do that. Not today. I love this example. This is what I give the example. I just turned 50. Nikki, can you help me move? Okay. I used to do that with everybody. No, I can't. No, I can't. But you know what I can do? I can send over some pizza, a case of water, and a case of beer for the guys, or whatever, the Red Bull, whatever you're having. I can come over on Tuesday after work and clean your bathroom or help you put away and set up your bed frame and that good stuff. But can I help you move? No. You understand there's other ways to help. Why are you self-sacrificing to the point that you're not useful? See, it says on page 86, that would diminish our usefulness. It's not just worry, remorse, and morbid reflection. It's completely depleting yourself that makes you useless, right? You diminish yourself. I have to have energy. I'm a soldier of God. Even soldiers need rest. Isn't it, Justin?
Yeah. So I'm going to come back with a little bit of big book word or verbiage here, because, I don't know if what I'm doing is helpful. Yes. Would it be helpful to them if I went and helped them move in the instance that you shared? Yeah. But how do I know the truth from the false? If I don't know the truth from the false, how do I know when it's actually helpful to be to them and to my relationship with being of service, maximum service to God and my fellows?
Okay, well, there's a couple things I want to go to. You said on page XXVII, it says, after a time, we can't differentiate the true from the false. That's before we tapped a power greater than ourselves. If you've really tapped a power greater than yourself on page 87, this should be coming true for you then. Or I want to ask this person, if you can't differentiate the true from the false, have you really tapped a power greater than yourself? Because page 87 says, what used to be the occasional hunch or inspiration gradually becomes a working part of the mind. See, by this point, if you've been here for a moment, you will intuitively know how to handle a situation that used to baffle you. How come you're not intuitively knowing how to handle a situation that used to baffle you? That's the question I would ask. Are you really taking a sincere position every day? See, every day you have to do this. This is really, really radical, and then it's always back to this is why we need to get armed with the facts, everybody, and that's on page 18, armed with the facts. This was a 6-step program. It came from the Oxford group, isn't it? Back then. And there's a self-will test that we use, how we sponsor Justin through our big book workbook sponsorship guide. It says on our step 11, remember to check your motives. Here's the self-will test. Is what I'm doing dishonest? And self-will test, is it dishonest? Is it resentful? Is it selfish or fearful? It needs only one defect. Is it dishonest, resentful, selfish, or fearful? It needs only one defect. Okay, that's very simple. But if it's a God's will test, is it honest? Okay, so you go back to the moving scenario. Do I really want to help these people move? I'm 50. I'm tired. Even me, I hire movers. Like I wouldn't even ask a friend to do that. I'm old enough to know that's not okay now. Okay. I'm not 16. So is it honest to say yes? That's a big no. It's not honest. I don't really want to do it. Is it pure? Maybe it's pure. Then it says, is it unselfish? Is it loving? And the thing with God's will test, it must be honest, pure, unselfish, and loving. You must have all 4 principles. See, it has to have all 4 principles. For the self-will test, I only need 1. Is it dishonest? Yeah, it's dishonest for me to say yes. I don't want, and when you do things you don't want to do, Justin, you intuitively know it doesn't feel good. See, we get that God consciousness if you're really working a program. Where does it say on page 63? I love this line. It says, maybe I can't find it now. It talks about God consciousness. I want to find it, but I'm not on the book. But there is a God consciousness that we seek, and it just becomes a working part of our mind. So I use that self-will test, God's will test. Is it honest, pure, and selfish loving? That's God's will. And it has to have all four. One of those cannot be left out.
Yeah. Thank you for walking through that. There are places where, this is my experience. There are places where I do need to do things I don't want to do. I mean, that's kind of one of the things we say about our step 6 and step 7. Stop doing the things we want to do and start doing the things we don't want to do. But I think those are different than, in a moving situation, is this really a good thing for me? Do I really want to go do that? And I'm going to be physically shut down for the next week because I went and helped move a piano and a mechanical bed that each weigh, a bazillion pounds. Is that really what I want to do and what God wants me to do at this point? Maybe not. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Nikki. Any other closing thoughts there before we jump out of this recording here and jump further?
Well, many times through the book, it says, ask God. I don't know what page it says, call your sponsor. Where does it? I mean, we go to friends. I mean, it does, we have to work one-on-one. There's a whole chapter called working with others. But if you look at the exact instructions, it says right here, because remember, by this time, we've made conscious contact, and it says, ask God. It says, let's just go to this page, 86. On awakening, let us think about the 24 hours ahead. We consider our plans for the days. Now, according to the big book on page 19, our plans for the day are in this order. On page 19, it says, a much more important demonstration of our principles lies before us in our respective homes. So my plans for the day are around my home. Number 2 is my occupation. I have to be fully self-supporting. And then number 3 is my affairs, which is the newcomer, which is helping my friend get pizza. And if I can't help Auntie on the Tuesday, I have 50 cousins. I ask somebody to help me. You understand? Or if I can't go to, what I had to do? Thank God Auntie has a little bit of money. I just hire one of the PSWs, a personal support worker, to go over on the days I can't when I'm in Luxembourg. This is really serious stuff. You have to wake your consciousness up. Back to page 86. Before we begin, we ask God to direct our thinking. Is everybody doing that? Before you begin what, Nikki? Before you begin your day? Before you begin answering a question that you're not sure about? Do you ask God to direct your thinking and asking that you be divorced from self-pity, dishonesty, and self-seeking motives? See, it says under these conditions. What conditions, Nikki? Thinking about the 24 hours ahead just for today, considering your plans, asking God to direct your thinking, getting divorced from self-pity, dishonesty, and self-seeking. Under these conditions, we can employ our mental faculties with assurance. There's a key word. See, if I'm connected to God, I am filled with assurance, for after all, God gave me brains to use. Justin, I'm in a place right now in Luxembourg. There's a million cows around me, horses. You wouldn't believe I'm in, it's so beautiful. But I'm not a horse. I'm not a monkey. I'm not a macaco in Portuguese. And I'm certainly not a cow. I'm a human. And God gave me brains to use because my thought life will be placed on a much higher plane when my thinking, not my drinking, not my eating, not my, doing what I do that's unmentionable on camera, is cleared of wrong motives. It's all here in the book. And sometimes it's a simple yes or no. I had an Al-Anon sponsor and I'll end here. He's like, no is a full sentence, but why? And I started parenting like that. My son, well, Mom, why? It's like, no, son, no, full stop. It's so radical. Page 117. God will show us how to have a radically changed attitude. I love this life. It just keeps getting better and better. Get a magic book, The Bible for Survival.
Love it, Nikki. As we close this up, it's just more and more apparent, and I see this more and more clearly every day. Coming into the rooms, the 12-step rooms, is not about stopping a behavior, stopping drinking, drugging, acting out, whatever it is. It is about gaining a connection with a power greater than myself that is powerful enough, loving enough to deliver me so that I am actually sane, restored to sanity, and can make these decisions and move forward. What a beautiful thing. Thank you so much, Nikki. Keep coming back, everybody. It works when I work it, so work it. You are worth it.